All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
It's D,
Thank you.
and we are definitely living
This
this
thing
thing
called
called life.
life.
We have a spectacular show scheduled for this evening, talking about the impact of HBCUs on our world, and not just coming at it from that aspect, but talking about how we can continue to allow them to be viable in our world, as far as like as a source of education, because not everyone understands how valuable an HBCU education really is.
So I'm going to tell you, I heard something that absolutely positively blew me out the water, because I think that we tend to not really so much talk to our children about HBCUs as much. Now, I know we have our friend Cassandra. She's like, third generation HBCUs.
Right.
These kids don't have
Right.
no option. But I literally, my daughter and, and her, her friends or whatever. And I heard one of the children say that they grown now. They was children then. 6 months makes a difference on it. A year. But, well, an HBCU won't really prepare you for the real world.
Hold up. Say what?
Baby, let me tell you something.
Hold up. Say what?
She said an HBCU would not prepare her for the real world.
For the real world.
For the real world.
Okay, what kind of world does she live in where a Black university will not prepare you to deal with the interesting things that life have to offer a Black person? I tried to had to find something.
I know. I love when you get real creative with it. I love when you get real creative.
I had to.
Yeah.
So what was the response? That's my question.
Oh, honey, I had to school her.
Okay.
I had to school her all the way back to, the people who have made, such contributions throughout history. But then they were like, yeah, but that was then. I wanted to choke that little child.
You can't be choking the babies.
I know. That's why my child keeps me away from them. Because I'd be like, okay. So, and then, so I had the opportunity to, interact with that young lady again, probably about 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I said, look at all these Black people who have made an absolute difference. Look at all these Black people who are making history as we speak. They are literally history in the making. And she goes, I know, I keep watching everything and just seeing everything that's going on.
Blah,
blah, blah. She goes, and she goes, it's just amazing to me. And I'm so proud. And I said, can I tell you something that they all have in common? She said, besides being politicians? I said, mm-hmm. She said, what? So they all went to HBCUs.
Booyah. I'm just saying.
They all went to HBCUs.
They did. Now, the blessed part about HBCUs, Lord. HBCUs.
Oh, okay.
For me, is I started out at a SEC school. And it was cool. It had its moments, and I had my experiences there. But
Hey, Miss Cassandra.
Hey, darling.
I've been representing you all week, honey. I'm head to
Hello.
toe.
Hello, good evening, Annette. She's like, that's a big cupcake.
Listen, it's been a big cup kind of day.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the thing that for me, I went to say it for me.
Mississippi Valley State University.
Where she just said. I went there because that was my mother's alma mater.
It was.
My mother was a 1968 graduate of Mississippi Valley State University. And then when I look at other family members and, things of that nature, I look at how valuable and how much HBCUs impacted my personal family's life. Now, I'm not going to say that Valley is the best school in the world, but I will say it was the best school in the world in 1990 because that was where I met my sister.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's so funny because we've been so connected. People oftentimes, it's like, oh, you all look so much alike. And
y'all
when
act
out,
just alike.
Right. When me and Kayana are out and it's like, is this your mom? I was like, no, this is my aunt. Well, you all look just alike. I'm like, oh, bless it. I guess, look, I'll take that because she's a beautiful young lady.
Thank you.
But I think our guest might be ready. Is he ready? Because he's just smiling behind the scenes. So you all can't see it, but I can see that big smile. But here we go. There he is. Hi there, look, Cassandra, Tennessee State.
I'm just going to say, if it weren't for Tennessee State, I wouldn't be here because that's where my parents met and that's where they both went to school and graduated from.
So yes, shout out to Tennessee State and the Revolution, because
my doggone mother.
Huh?
I said, shout out to Tennessee State.
Absolutely. Yes. And my mother out there throwing rocks at the police because that was the beginning of everything.
Wait. I think the statute of limitations is probably
it's over on that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Crazy lady.
Since you are like 25 plus 13, maybe 13, 25 plus maybe 13 or so.
Or so.
Years. Yeah. Or so. But yeah, so this is a phenomenal topic for me because when we think about her story that's gonna happen in a few hours, dog. Okay. I'm not hyped. I'm not excited. I'm cool.
I am super hyped.
When I think about just, not just her being a Black woman or an Asian woman, but a woman
of color.
All of that.
Because even the Asians is yellow, so as I said, they consider yellow, so they got color too.
You know what?
I'm gonna sip my tea.
But when I think about that, it's like I get so hyped. And can I tell you all, I have been so cool around the house. But look, that's it. Cassandra said, okay, where can HBCU take you? To the White House. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And Minister Mason, TSU for her too. Yes.
She might know that crazy lady.
Yeah, she might know your mama. Hello, Beatrice. But so I'm I've had people say that they have attended an HBCU and they really didn't have the best experience and they really didn't have the best, they feel the education was a little lacking or they felt this, that. I said, well, and my question because he transferred to another state university that was not one that leaned toward our persuasion. And I asked him, I said, well, what was the biggest difference? Why did you feel you didn't get what you needed at the HBCU you attended? And it wasn't Valley, by the way. It was another one that was in the state of Mississippi that we're not gonna talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk
Them
about that
people
one. Yeah, them folks.
with the sonic boom. Them people.
Yeah,
Okay.
them. Yeah. But when he made the statement, he said, I just didn't feel like I belonged or that I was getting what I needed. And I was like, well, what was the difference between your experience at your HBCU versus the other school you attended? I said, other than the fact that you were just a number that got lost in a stadium-sized class. I said, aside from that, and maybe being the fly in the buttermilk, as my mom used to say. I said, other than that, what was the difference? He was like, I just don't know. But then as I took the conversation, there were some other things that I took into consideration when I thought about who the individual was. Now, I'm not going to say that, where he graduated from is not a great school, because it is. But I will say that when you go into a place with a preconceived notion, like the young lady that you were talking about did, you tend to lean toward the negative sides and not open yourself up to the true value of what you are experiencing, because nothing prepares you for life like an HBCU.
Oh, baby. So I'm gonna say this one more comment, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Apostle Rogers.
Yes.
The thing about an HBCU for me, the education that I got, that I needed, that enriched my life the most, didn't happen in the classroom.
That part. And I'm gonna sip my tea.
And
because it taught you how to play spades.
Well, yeah, there is that too. Good evening, Apostle. How are you?
God bless y'all, man. It's so good to see y'all tonight.
Yes, it's good to see you as well. So, we know that you are living this thing called life, because we realize you are in motion.
Yes.
So look, because I'm talking about some spades. So we're gonna allow you the opportunity to go ahead and talk to our guests this evening about some of the things that, we kind of hit on, just in our, general conversations about the value and the true impact of HBCUs on not just us as individuals, but on the world.
Yeah.
Because right now, they are on the world stage, figuratively and literally.
I think that HBCUs are hidden weapons in our arsenal that have for too long been overlooked. As we are looking at the political climate, we can see clearly the power of an HBCU education as it relates to, of course, our vice president being alum of Howard University. We have the first black senator ever elected in the history of the state of Georgia, Reverend Warnock, who is an alum of Morehouse. Yesterday, we celebrated the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King,
he was talking about Dr. King and us actually celebrating his birthday yesterday.
Right.
And when you think about the fact that he is a Morehouse man.
Yes, he is. Well, was. Yeah. All that.
He's well, look, he may be he may be, varied, but he's always going to be a Morehouse man.
Absolutely.
So the impact of his contribution to the world at large is, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm just going to say it. Yes, we have, been inundated with a lot of news lately. We've been inundated with a lot of news. And I want to say that while we were, being, Dr. King was being used to try to control and silence the Black vote during the riots and the protests of 2020.
Yeah, Lord.
But people have been as quiet as dead church mice.
She said dead church mice, Jesus.
Since the riots of the 6th.
Ooh.
The domestic terrorist acts of the 6th. Nobody, even those who would normally post on, of the people that I know that would normally post on, MLK's observed day,
right,
were quiet and have remained so. And it is quite enlightening and it is quite deafening, the silence that they have put out there.
Yeah,
the silence is deafening.
Yeah, because I would have thought by now we've heard a whole lot.
Something.
Listen, she said what I said. Dead church mice. Dead.
Yeah.
Hello, can y'all see?
Okay, we're back. You're back with us. Yes, sir. We know how it is when you're mobile. Go ahead.
All right. So Dr. King was an alum of Morehouse as well. Our sister, Stacey Abrams, who divinely orchestrated this entire thing with her blueprint for getting people registered to vote and getting the vote out. She's an HBCU alum, so it is crazy. Y'all not gonna believe this. My doggone tire is on flat. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what this boy, and this is my dog tire on flat. I cannot believe this.
Oh my goodness. So when we talk about living this thing called life, this is it in living color.
In living color. I'm sitting here trying to figure out why this doggone noise is going like this, and the doggone tire went on flat.
Blessed assurance.
HBCUs do a couple of things. The most important of which is they provide the duality of education. I heard our sister earlier saying that most of the important things she learned was not in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. And for me, I went to a small liberal arts HBCU called Concordia College in Selma, Alabama. It gave me the duality. It made what I learned in the classroom real when I got outside the classroom. I was afforded the opportunity to spend time with the pastors that actually worked with Dr. King on the Poor People's Campaign. And so we would meet at Lilydale Baptist Church every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And that education you can't buy. there's no way you can purchase that level of information and impartation from people who were on the front lines with Dr. King daily in meetings and strategic plan meetings, and just seeing the results of what was happening in terms of the civil rights movement and how they moved those marches and actual legislation change the face of America and the face of our rights and privileges as African Americans in this country. And so I'm just really, I'm just a proud alum of the HBCU system and the duality of what I learned and how it shaped me and helped me to become who I am today.
Right. Now, while we were talking the other day, we were discussing how, HBCU alums have impacted the world globally as well.
Yes.
Would you care to share on that part for us?
Well, just in recent history, I don't think we can have a discussion about the global nature of HBCUs without discussing Dr. King, who was a graduate of Morehouse, of course, and was one of the primary voices and spearheads for civil rights and for human rights around the world. And I think a lot of people miss out on what he did in his trip to Ghana and the month that he spent in Ghana, which really helped revolutionize that nation in where they find themselves at today globally due to Dr. King's efforts. What is happening across the span of Africa today is something that I know I've been going after since 2003, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, and the impact that's being made there in terms of business and politics. The former president of Liberia, she's also a member of AKA. She's an HBCU graduate. And so when you talk about global impact in HBCU education, it is real, it is relevant. And again, for those who desire to have both barrels of guns sharpened, both experience and education, I suggest HBCU. And I want to say something. I've recently been in some clubhouse conversations, and I met one of the chaplains, one of the former chaplains for Grambling University, and he and I are now working on developing an organization that will begin to organize to help fund HBCUs, because many of our HBCUs are woefully underfunded. And as a business owner and a graduate of an HBCU, I would see proper funding put in place so that our HBCUs can have the proper research centers and postgraduate programs up to PhD for all of them, so that those of us who want to climb that academic ladder can do so both at the bachelor's level all the way to the PhD level at an HBCU, and will have to switch over to a PWI in order to get their master's and their PhD.
Now, honestly, I'm sitting here and I can hear you're tired. I don't know if you want to, sir.
Yes.
I was about to say, I don't know if you want to go ahead and address that, or if you're going to try to get to a destination and just keep talking. But I'm going to let you make that call right now, because we can always pick our conversation back up. I'm concerned about your safety.
Yeah, let's reschedule, because I got to prepare to this tire repair shop and this tire fix.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep talking about, the benefits of some of the things that we know and things that we've, and you just take care of that, and the other aspects of how we can continue to share and do things to keep the HBCUs alive and viable financially and in other areas. We'll come back together at a different moment and talk about that after you have, because we want you to get things handled and we want you to be
Be
safe.
safe, definitely.
Okay, so thank y'all.
Okay, take care. Take care now. Yes.
So now I'm going to say one of the things that he talks about and that he touched on.
Yes,
and
and she's right. He's still going to be listening, but he needs to.
yeah,
he has to be safe.
yeah, definitely. One of the things that I think was very relevant, and he kind of touched on the first time he was on our show, is the fact that, we have so many, proud business owners, and we have so many, people who have done well for themselves that came out of HBCUs, but then don't turn around and give back.
Yeah.
You don't turn around and invest your money in the places that help to build and create you, and to help you to be where you are at this at this current moment.
Right. Now, one thing that I want to touch on is how oftentimes we are, when we think about HBCUs, we think about what people often think about, the athletics. And see, right now with Deion Sanders being down at J-State as the Jackson State, he's the actual head coach of the football team. And so there are a lot of people who have been migrating away from a lot of these quote unquote traditionally the schools that the top athletes in the nation typically gravitate. They have been making their way toward J-State, which is great for the state of Mississippi, which is great for bringing attention to, HBCU athletics. But on the flip side of that, when you look at the HBCU athletics and you look at it in terms of the NCAA and how monies have been directed away from the HBCUs into other programs, Deion Sanders going to J-State could very well be a blessing in that regard as it relates to, being able to provide scholarships for a lot of young, men and women that may not ordinarily have the blessed opportunity to have an HBCU experience.
True.
And then on the flip side of that, though, it also brings attention to what we're dealing with even now in our nation, the racial disparities, between them and us.
I had a friend who hit me up. He is in another region of the country. And when we talk about racial disparities, he said, well, Indiana, at one point in time, I was working downtown and I was working for the government. So I was always over in the Capitol building, over in the State House. And I remember the time, and all in the government center. And he said to me, I need you to take a leave of absence. And I was like, what? Not realizing he don't know that I don't work there anymore. But he said, I need you to take a leave of absence because the way these people are acting and what they have done and are planning to do, it's not going to be safe for you. But yet and still, we just had, the Black Lives Matter protests down there. And yes, some damage was done. But I didn't get a call about my safety then. Other than keep your behind from downtown. You don't need to be out there and all of that. Unless you're protesting, you don't need to be out there and all that. It is to a point. Now, I'm not one of those people. I am not a fearful person. I refuse to run around living in fear. My mind ain't quite right. Me and the Proud Boys, we might have a moment. Yeah, I'm just saying that might not go so well. However, to know that, especially with this being a red state, especially with this being a state, that it didn't matter what we did, it was not getting ready to turn. And it don't matter what street you go down, you're gonna see those flags. And they don't say Pence. I mean, what is it? They don't say Biden. They don't say Biden Harris. They say the other fool and Pence. And now they don't even say Pence anymore. Now they just say the other fool. But so my boss, my current boss, just moved here from California. California is one of those states. It was a blue state. As weird as that is. And he was just like, it's a little scary out here. He said, I literally took the tags off of our car. Like, they just moved here from California. I literally took the tags off of our car because in the neighborhood that that we're currently living in, you don't see that. That's not what you see. And I'm like, well, at least other folks are starting to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I think that has been a blessing amongst all of this, is that other people are starting to see it.
Good evening, Elder McGee. Good evening, Bender. Yeah, so and I concur with that.
She laughing at me talking about that other fool.
Well, see, the thing though, and see, I'm gonna, because you know me, I've not been silent on my page, and I'm just not gonna be silent.
I would think you were sick if you did.
The fact that we are dealing with situations that we as Black people have been telling, and if you get a chance and you're my friend on Facebook, I wrote a whole novel yesterday on my page. That was the one post, and that was the be all that covers all for me as it relates to everything right now.
I've been missing a lot on Facebook.
But I hit on the fact that we have addressed so many of these issues.
Excuse me.
But duty calls. We have addressed so many of these issues until we really can't, and I'm gonna pull this over just a little while she's handling business. We can't ignore the fact that until something hits white people, they act like we are dumb as a box of rocks. Boom, there it is. I was trying to find a nice way to say it, couldn't, so I just went on and said it. And we were letting them know long before the BLM protests. We were letting them know long before the idiot carrot ever took office or was gifted the office of president, because he did lose the popular vote by 3 million plus votes. But the Electoral College gifted it to him. That's why he was thinking that he could turn around and apply pressure to keep the House. Negative, no, bye. So, it's a shame. It's a shame that individuals, Kay, I can still hear you, because with what she does professionally, we need to keep it off the air. So what I was trying to say was, until it hits them directly, it doesn't matter. We were telling them when he was campaigning. We were telling them when he was nominated. We were telling them once he actually won was gifted the presidency. We've been telling them for the 4 years he was in office. And it took a group of white people running up in the Capitol, for them to turn around and finally say, I guess them Black people knew what they was talking about all this time. Cassandra Porter, she was on here earlier. I don't know if she's still on because she's extremely busy as well. She has her business is teaching racial equity and diversity. That is her company. That is what she does. She does it on a daily basis. And the fact that she has gone to the different places and the corporations and the different organizations and taught, it is, while I'm glad that she's been there, I hate the fact that what she was saying and what her other trainers were saying fell upon deaf ears because of blackened hearts. The blackened hearts of this country. You know, people talk about how it is their legacy, how it is their things. I'm just really trying to find a nice way to say this stuff. How is their legacy to be okay with doing what it is that they do when it comes down to negating the things that other white people do, when it comes down to validating and justifying the fact that it's okay for white people to do whatever they do as long as it's affecting people other than people that look like them. Now, when I don't condone what happened on the 6th by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a firm believer that in all things there is a blessing. And the blessing in the 6th, in my opinion, ideology, is that it took them breaching the Capitol. It took things, the covers being pulled off of people that are in high-ranking positions in order for people to see just how corrupt this nation truly remains. We've been screaming it from the rooftops, but a lot of people, just like when you're in church, a lot of people get caught up on the messenger and they lose the message. So, if we're going to talk about it and talk about it for what it really is, let's just call a spade a spade. Since we're talking about HBCUs, we just go ahead and, slap that card on the top of the forehead and, and then when the time comes to play it, we get it and we slap the table and, we talk a boatload of crap. But the crap that we need to turn around and really talk right now, in my humble opinion, is we need to keep applying pressure. Because we're going to go back to Apostle Rogers at another time, because, like I said, we wanted, for those of you that are joining now, we had to segue away from talking with him because he had life happen while we were on the air. He was mobile and his vehicle had a flat, so we are more concerned about his safety than anything else, and we wanted him to be able to handle that so he could get to his destination safely. So we're going to revisit this topic with him in more depth. So that's why I'm kind of going in a different direction, so that when he comes on, when we talk back to him, he can address the things that we were going to initially talk about. But so I want to say to my Black brothers and sisters, I want you to remain vigilant. I'm not a Republican, nor am I a Democrat. I'm actually an independent. So when I speak out, I'm not speaking out from the perspective of a party. I'm speaking out from the perspective of a woman who is married to a Black man, who was fathered by a Black man, who was birthed by a Black woman, who has Black brothers, Black nephews, Black relatives. But I also have other cultures that are in my family as well. We are, a very diverse, multicultural family. And I take pride in that. And it's actually on both sides of my family. I take pride in the fact that we love people for who they are, but on the flip side of that, we still hold people to account, and the people that know me, I have the other day I put up a post saying that on Facebook that racism made me sad. And it wasn't so much as that I was sad about racism itself, but the fact that there were so many people that I thought were, who were truly God-fearing believers, Christ followers. And the presidency of former President Barack Obama and the presidency of number 45, which comes to an end in a few hours. What? Okay, I said I was going to stay cool. Officially comes to an end, I'll say it that way. The things that were revealed about those childhood friendships that have lasted into adulthood really, really kind of took a toll on me, because there were a couple of people that I reached out to just to, talk to them about the way things were going. And some of the things that they were saying was letting me know that, no, you were never my friend. You were just someone, I was just someone that was Black that you knew. And then to have, Bishop Scott, one of our former guests, to put up a post. I'm gonna turn this back so you can be back in the full shot, sissy.
Hey, y'all.
To have Bishop Scott to put up a post saying that he was getting an inbox, he had received an inbox from someone reminding him that and telling him that he needs to remember who he is. Oh, you missed that? I told you I posted it and shared it on my page.
You did. I had to remember. I had to remember.
He is, they sent him an inbox telling him that he is a white man from the North. Didn't the North fight to abolish slavery?
Mm.
But then again, the fact that he, at one point in time in life, pastored here in the great state of Indiana, a little bit further north of where we are.
In an area of this state that I ain't going nowhere near.
Yeah, unless you're just driving through it with a full tank of gas.
Because that is one of those, what they call the sundown towns.
The sundown towns, yes. So when we look at that and we think about things in that regard, this man, went through having, and he's been very open and very vocal with, the way that his ministry was founded. He actually pastored a rather prominent church down in Columbus, Mississippi.
Another PWI.
And And with, believe it or not, though, it's Democratic across the board, but it's those outskirts are very red. The city is blue, but the outskirts are very red. I'm just gonna be nice and say it that way. The reality is he pastored a very prominent church, and he was not quiet about lives that, and like mine and yours, and people that look like us, you know, being about us mattering, about our lives actually making a difference, and that we should not be vilified. So the board of that particular church voted, and they voted to relieve him as the pastor of that particular location.
Establishment.
Right.
Because that ain't a house of God, honey. That's an establishment.
And you know, and as people in the community started trying to, you know, make a big ruckus and a big fuss about it, he and his wife made it a point to keep down the confusion and the rhetoric, you know, letting it be known that there was no love lost. You know, they still love the people, and the majority of those people still love them. And they were prayerful in whatever direction God led them in. That was the direction that they were going to go with their lives. Because, and so, you know, after much prayer and fasting on their part, God led them to open a ministry. And when they talked about, when, you know, they discussed it or what have you, this is a vision that he revealed that God had given him years and years and years and years ago. But it was for such a time as this that it needed to be manifested. And as they prayed about the name of the ministry, God gave it to him. And they named it The Bridge, because they're bringing in together, you know, intentionally bringing together multi-generational, multicultural, multi-ethnic, you know, individuals to serve the one God that created us all. And so they've been very intentional with that message, and it has truly been a blessing to that region. And it's because of that that I became acquainted with him. And since becoming acquainted with he and his wife, they have truly been a blessing to, you know, me. And I just want to say, you know, it's time out for coddling and acting like, you know, we don't have a voice. There's a way to handle it all.
Yes.
There is a way for us to handle all of this stuff. So Black people remain professional, but at the same time, we need to start making sure that our voices are heard, because the state of Georgia showed us, if nothing else has shown us,
the state of
Georgia showed us that if we come together for a common cause, now we may have different segments, because, you know, Stacey Abrams wasn't able to do it by herself.
No.
There were pockets. You had each county, you had each area, town, city, however they had it broken up, because Apostle Rogers started to hit that a little bit. They came together for a common cause.
Absolutely.
And it made a difference when they came together for that common cause. It didn't, and I know that there were white people amongst them. There were different denominations and beliefs amongst all of those people that came together. But they came together for that common cause.
Mhm.
which is the same way our HBCUs
Mm.
were built.
Mhm.
It's the same way our churches back in the day and our other, schools of matriculation were built,
Mhm.
because the people came together for a common cause. And I didn't mean to go on my tirade and what have you, but I want us to understand the importance and the impact
Yes.
of what happens when we come together in unity.
Yes.
I wouldn't have my sister had those HBCUs not been built.
Absolutely.
She probably would have gone to wherever she went, and I would have gone to wherever I went.
It wouldn't
But
have been a matter of all that, because if it weren't for an HBCU, my parents wouldn't have met. My mom is from New York. My father is from Indianapolis. They met in Nashville, Tennessee.
so
Nashville, Tennessee.
right. So it's like there are so many pieces of our lives that have come together as the result of
Mhm.
those
HBCUs.
right.
Absolutely.
And that's just from a personal perspective. I'm looking forward to hearing Apostle Rogers share the other pieces of things from a historical and a professional business standpoint as it relates to continuing to build.
Yes.
And us promoting and capitalizing on what our HBCUs have to offer, as it relates to the future.
Mhm.
Because people are starting to realize the whitewashed history that we have been taught is a hock of crock.
It ain't what it used to be.
Right. And people are starting to realize that we need facts over fiction.
Mhm.
We need facts over fiction in our classrooms, especially if it's going to make a difference in the world we live in today.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
have a fat face. I just realized it.
Get out.
That was so random, but that's how we talk around these here parts.
So I just want to put this one on there.
It's like same here. I had no idea it was so deep. Some folks that I've been friends with over 50 years really showed who they are and what they believe. Some are still, to this very moment, Trump supporters. And you know what? Same here. And the sad part is there are some good Republicans, some nice, good conservatives that are out there, but they have become tarnished by blindly following the narrative. I'll just put it that way, and not being more vocal about the narrative. And the fact that so many still, unfortunately, still support him.
I'm gonna tell you, we had our nursery rhymes and our childhood stories and things of that nature. One of the things that always, like from the beginning of the time of the idiot carrot, that has always stuck in my brain was the Pied Piper. This, the story of the Pied Piper. I can say these things.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing his pipe, and all these rats mindlessly follow him.
Scary.
Just scurrying behind him, never questioning, never, where we going, what's going on, mindless, scurrying behind him, never hesitating. Just, I'm right there with you, let's go. And that's what his supporters are.
The blind leading the blind. the
from
blind following the blind.
these nationalists and the Proud Boys and
so
all
many
and
groups that
so
we
many,
don't know the names of.
hell, the ones that just now bailed, the Betsy DeVos, the all of those folks who are just now bailing, but they was following the Pied Piper the entire time, leading a bunch of rats. Absolutely.
Now that right there.
Puppet master. Absolutely.
So, like I said, when you start talking about, the impact of how all of this, and see, the blessed part about when we do talk to Apostle again is going to be that we are going to be on the backside of the official tenure of the idiot carrot.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus.
I'm going to keep a straight face this time. I'm determined to keep a straight face. Now, you all that are in internet land, you all may hear me holler out.
Thank you, Jesus.
On tomorrow's.
I'm gonna be at work on the other side of the city, and
she'll probably hear me.
Either that, or she gonna call me and be like, "Girl, guess what?
It's done. It's done. It is done." Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stay cool till tomorrow, though. I'm gonna stay cool. I might even go live while I'm watching
cool.
it. Yes. I just might. But we're gonna say thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm just in a place of, I can't believe we're actually in a place where we are celebrating as where the world is celebrating.
Absolutely. Because you better know
the world is
celebrating
the fact that the idiot carrot is, the world is celebrating.
I ain't gonna show you my other hand, so
so
because I'm known for my 2 hands and 3 fingers.
So but so I'm gonna say, I appreciate you all for tuning in, and we can't wait for you all to join us when go ahead and speak that thing, Dr. Rogers, when Apostle Rogers is able to come back to us and finish sharing his knowledge. Yes, everybody.
He said, including Putin.
Let's see. This is how if it rose up and acted the fool, the Proud Boys wouldn't be so proud, and the supremacists wouldn't be so supreme. They really don't. And that's the piece of the puzzle that I keep trying to help people understand.
I'm going to say that, I made the comment, and this is, this is kind of where the whole HBCU thing kicked off the last time, that we are not our grandparents. And what I meant, I think a lot of people say, we're not our grandparents, they're just like, oh, they were real docile and they were real meek and mild and, da, 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 da. No, that was peaceful.
That part of it.
They went and they moved in silence. I mean, they were true gangsters. They moved in silence.
Which is what we need to learn.
To learn. However, we are not peaceful people anymore.
We're not pushovers anymore. We're not as forgiving. That is the piece of the puzzle.
I'm not even going to say that, because from the time that we have been brought to this country, we have done everything in our power to keep the peace, to keep things on an even keel.
I see your point. Yeah.
To keep the peace.
You're right. Yeah.
So when I say we are not our grandparents, so and when we talk about our grandparents, they are the ones that got these HBCUs going. So I love them for that. I honor my ancestors all the time. However, when I say we are not our grandparents, see, I'm more like my mama, who's out there throwing the rocks at the police. She's the sweetest lady now. Back then. But we are not a peaceful people now. Black Lives Matters protests
They have not
everywhere.
allowed us to be
They haven't.
peaceful.
And now they keep on.
But the
When we're
sad
starting
part,
to show our ass.
but see, the sad part, even with that is, and this is just, because we talk all the time.
Right there. Right there.
That get out my head.
Right there. That statement right there. I'm gonna put it on the screen. It is that statement right there.
That's exactly where I was headed. We have forgiven, and see, but the trick is they apply pressure or they throw money into the communities. And so people would just kind of
bow down.
And that's why people don't raise the hell that they used to raise. Send it and we'll make sure it gets posted. When the shootings of our people happens, and they throw the big, long dollar checks, and it's like all of a sudden everything quiets down until the next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. We have gotten to a place, well, a good portion of us have gotten to a place where the checks no longer matter. The words no longer matter.
I will not be silenced.
Right.
I will not be silenced.
Right.
And my thing is, even if you don't hear my voice,
I'm still not silent.
You will feel my presence.
Right.
I will not be silent.
Mm-hmm.
I have a beautiful little child. She ain't little no more. But because of her, I will not be silent. For all my nieces, my nephews, my organic children, my,
your tribe.
My tribe, I will not be silent.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, and even if you don't hear my voice, you will feel my presence.
That part.
Because, like he said, eyes tired, boss.
Beyond.
Eyes tired. You will see my smoke. Yeah, that too. That too.
That piece of the puzzle. So, but people are truly tired. And his niece Mary, she's saying that his adult children need to also be shut out of politics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But see, people didn't listen to her. They tried to play her. They tried to play her and her book off as her being disgruntled while she was trying to let the world know
that fool crazy.
He was stupid. She was trying to warn the world, but they did not want to listen. They did not want to listen.
No.
So, but anyway, is there anything else, Sissy, that you want to share? Because I know we were talking about, doing a couple of other things, but I was like, maybe if we talk to, I'm going to talk to him about his schedule. Hopefully he'll be, we may be able to pick this up and actually celebrate our new presidency on next week, but continue to dig because there's so much that needs to be covered that we did not hit. One, intentionally because he wasn't on here, but two, because the people need to know.
Absolutely.
The people need to know. So we will let you all know when the show is rescheduled, and we appreciate you all. We thank you all for joining us. We love you all, and we can't wait to talk to you all next week about this thing called life. Be blessed and have a great one, everyone. Bye-bye.
He said, well, there is smoke, there's fire.
Right. And